Ambassador Sarah Chen smoothed her formal diplomatic uniform, trying to ignore the subtle whispers and sideways glances from the alien delegates surrounding her. The Galactic Concordat's grand chamber stretched above in a sweeping arc of crystalline architecture, its transparent ceiling revealing the swirling nebula beyond. As Earth's first representative to this august body, she knew she was viewed as little more than a curiosity, a primitive among titans. The Arcturian speaker had just begun the opening ceremony when the first explosion rocked the chamber. Through the crystalline ceiling, Sarah watched in horror as sleek, predatory ships of the Vitheri Empire tore through the diplomatic fleet in perfect formation. But something about their attack pattern tickled her memory. While other delegates panicked or froze, Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. Secondary shield generators. Power them now. The authority in her tone triggered instant compliance from the station's crew. Seconds later, a second wave of Vitheri ships struck where the primary shields had been. A classic follow-up she'd recognized from countless historical battles. As emergency protocols engaged, Sarah found herself naturally coordinating the response. Her primitive human military training proved more valuable than the advanced but untested crisis procedures of the Concordat. Within minutes, she had organized an evacuation of the most vulnerable delegates and established a secure command center. Ambassador Chen, the Arcturian speaker, approached her makeshift command post, his crystalline form shimmering with distress. "How did you anticipate their second strike?" Sarah's eyes remained fixed on the tactical display. "Because I've seen this before," she replied, pulling up the attack pattern analysis. "This is a perfect execution of the Kesselschlacht, a double envelopment maneuver developed by human military strategists thousands of years ago. The Vitheri didn't create this strategy. They copied it." The speaker's crystalline surface clouded with confusion. "Impossible. The Vitheri have never shown interest in primitive warfare." Sarah's fingers flew across the tactical interface, highlighting the enemy fleet's movements. "Look at their precision. The timing. This isn't just similar to historical Earth tactics, it's identical." She pulled up parallel images, one from an ancient Earth battle, one from the current attack. The patterns matched perfectly. The revelation sent a chill through the command center. The Vitheri, one of the most technologically advanced species in known space, were using human military strategies. But why? Before Sarah could pursue that thought, another alert blared. A third Vitheri wave was incoming, but this formation was different. Her eyes widened as she recognized the pattern, and her blood ran cold. "Clear the outer docking rings now," she shouted. "They're not retreating. They're setting up for a cannae encirclement." As the station's crew scrambled to respond, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The Vitheri weren't just attacking the Concordat. They were sending a message. And somehow, humanity was at the center of it all. "Distinguished members of the Concordat," Sarah's voice echoed through the emergency council chamber. "The Vitheri aren't just using advanced technology. They're implementing Earth's military history against us." The holographic display behind her showed battle formations from humanity's past wars alongside recent Vitheri attack patterns. The Zentari representative, a being of pure energy, pulsed with dismissal. "Ambassador Chen, while we appreciate your enthusiasm, suggesting that primitive warfare could threaten our defensive systems is..." The chamber's alert system cut him off. Sarah's eyes snapped to the tactical display, recognizing the incoming formation instantly. "They're executing a pincer movement. Redirect power to the lateral shields." "Our shields are rated against." The Zentari's protest died as Vitheri weapons fire bypassed their supposedly impenetrable defenses. The enemy ships had attacked from angles the advanced shields weren't designed to protect against. Angles that would have been obvious to any human military strategist. "Your defenses evolved to counter energy weapons and quantum attacks," Sarah explained while coordinating the emergency response. "But the Vithari are using physical kinetic weapons in formations designed to exploit basic spatial weaknesses. You never needed to defend against these tactics because they're considered obsolete." As if to prove her point, a Vitheri cruiser executed a perfect Immelman turn, a maneuver dating back to Earth's first aerial combat. The alien ship's superior technology made the ancient technique devastatingly effective. During the chaos, Sarah slipped into the Concordat's data center. Her diplomatic credentials, combined with the emergency protocols she'd helped implement, gave her unprecedented access. What she found confirmed her worst fears. The Vitheri had been systematically accessing Earth's historical records for months. Every major military campaign, every significant battle tactic, all downloaded and analyzed. But why would one of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations be so interested in humanity's violent past? The answer came as she dug deeper. The Vitheri weren't just studying human warfare. They were the only other species in the Concordat with a similar evolutionary history of conflict. Most advanced species had evolved past physical combat early in their development. But humans and Vitheri, they had grown stronger through conflict. A new alert shattered her concentration. 3 Vitheri fleets had just emerged from hyperspace, each approaching a different core world. The tactical displays showed 3 distinct formations: a Schweinfurt pattern, a Mongol sweep, and a classic hammer and anvil. Sarah's hands trembled as she transmitted her findings to her secure terminal. The Vitheri weren't just using human tactics, they were perfecting them, combining them with technology centuries ahead of Earth's capabilities. And now they were launching their real offensive. Emergency protocols. She broadcast to all channels. The previous attacks were just tests. This is the actual assault, and it's using 3 different Earth military strategies simultaneously. As the Concordat erupted into panic, Sarah realized the true scope of their danger. The Vitheri had found the perfect weapon, combining advanced technology with humanity's hard-won combat expertise, and she was the only one who could see the patterns in time to stop them. "You want us to do what?" Captain Vexterra of the Centaurian Defense Fleet stared at Sarah through compound eyes that reflected the holographic battle plans floating between them. His crystalline exoskeleton sparkled with skepticism. "Form a testudo," Sarah repeated, manipulating the hologram to show the Roman legion formation. Modified for space combat, of course. Your ships will create a 3-dimensional defensive shell, concentrating shield power at specific vectors rather than trying to maintain a full bubble. The emergency command center hummed with tension. After the devastating attacks on the core worlds, only a handful of ship commanders had agreed to try Sarah's primitive strategies. Most of the Concordats still believed their advanced technology would ultimately prevail. Ambassador Chen, a Meridian observer, chimed in, their gaseous forms swirling with anxiety. "Our analysis suggests the Vitheri will attack the Proxima colonies next. We cannot risk." "They won't attack Proxima," Sarah interrupted, zooming out the tactical display. "Look at their pattern. They're following a classic escalation strategy. The Proxima colonies are too obvious. They'll strike." Her finger traced a line through seemingly empty space here. "The Dendarian trade routes." Captain Vexterra's crystalline structure vibrated with surprise. "The trade routes are heavily defended with our most advanced, which is exactly why they're vulnerable," Sarah pressed. "Your automated defense systems are designed to counter known threats. The Vitheri are using human tactics that predate automation by millennia. We need to think like they think. And right now, they're thinking like ancient human generals." After intense debate, 7 ships agreed to follow Sarah's plan. They arranged themselves in the modified testudo formation, with the most heavily armored vessels creating a living shield wall in space. Sarah had them run drills for 6 hours, perfecting the formation's ability to shift and respond to different attack angles. When the Vitheri attack came, it was exactly where Sarah had predicted. Their fleet emerged from hyperspace in a perfect wedge formation, designed to split enemy forces. But instead of finding scattered defensive ships, they encountered Sarah's testudo. "Hold formation," Sarah commanded as the first wave of Vitheri fire struck their position. The concentrated shields held where dispersed defenses would have failed. "Rotate 18 degrees port, upper quadrant." The formation shifted just as the Vithari launched their second wave, causing their precisely targeted shots to miss completely. The alien ships, confused by the unfamiliar defense, broke formation to attempt individual attacks. "They're adapting," Sarah noted, watching the tactical display, "just like a human commander would." Captain Vexterra, prepare for Phase 2. The testudo suddenly split apart in a controlled dispersal pattern based on ancient Greek phalanx maneuvers. The Vithari, committed to their attack runs, couldn't adjust in time. Sarah's ships caught them in a devastating crossfire. Multiple Vithari ships disabled. The tactical officer reported, "They're retreating." But Sarah's triumph was short-lived. Emergency signals blared as reports flooded in from across the sector. The Vithari had launched simultaneous attacks on 3 different core worlds, each using a different Earth military strategy. "Impossible," Captain Vexterra whispered, his crystalline form clouding with shock. "These patterns, they're all different, but you recognize them." Sarah's hands flew over the tactical displays, highlighting each attack formation. "This group is using a modified blitzkrieg approach. These ones are implementing Persian cavalry tactics. And this," she paused, her blood running cold, "this is the same strategy the Mongols used to conquer half of Earth." The Meridian observer's gaseous form condensed with fear. How can they be executing 3 completely different historical strategies simultaneously? Because they're learning, Sarah realized, watching the attacks unfold. They're not just copying our tactics anymore. They're understanding the principles behind them, adapting them, combining them with their advanced technology. She turned to face the assembled commanders. This isn't just an attack. It's evolution. New alerts flashed across the screens. The Vithari attacks had breached the outer defenses of all 3 worlds. Conventional Concordat forces were being systematically destroyed, their advanced technology useless against strategies they'd never prepared to face. "We need to expand our defense," Sarah declared. "Captain Vexterra, your ships prove the concept works. Now we need to teach these tactics to every fleet in the sector." "There's no time," the Meridian protested. "The Vithari are attacking now." Sarah's expression hardened as she pulled up the complete tactical display of the sector. "Then we'll learn in combat. Sometimes that's the only way." She began marking positions on the map. "Captain, contact every ship commander who will listen. I'm going to show you how humanity learned to counter these exact strategies thousands of years ago." As the command center erupted into action, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The Vithari weren't just using human tactics, they were testing them, refining them, learning from them, like they were preparing for something even bigger. A final alert caught her attention. A Vithari transmission, heavily encrypted but partially decoded. Her eyes widened as she read the fragments. "Human combat evolution. Proceed to Phase 2. Activate the Matrix." The real battle was just beginning. The Concordat Emergency Council chamber erupted in chaos as Sarah took the central podium. "You can't seriously be considering giving command authority to a human." The Proximan delegate's electromagnetic field crackled with indignation. "The Vithari have already adapted to our standard defense protocols," Sarah countered, projecting tactical displays across the chamber's holographic systems. "They're using human military strategies that predate your civilization's peaceful unification. I'm not asking for permanent command. I'm offering you the only expertise that might save your worlds." The Arcturian speaker's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "Ambassador Chen has proven her tactical insight. The successful defense of the Dendarian trade routes was a minor skirmish," interrupted another delegate. "Now she wants control of the entire emergency response fleet." Sarah slammed her hand on the podium, the sharp sound cutting through the argument. "While we debate, the Vithari are positioning their forces using Napoleon's central position strategy. They're dividing their fleet to engage each of your worlds separately, before you can unite your defenses. We have hours, at most." The tactical displays updated in real time, showing Vithari fleet movements. Even the skeptical delegates fell silent as they watched the enemy ships executing perfect classical Earth maneuvers. "Give me 12 hours," Sarah pressed. "Let me coordinate our response using the same historical knowledge they're exploiting. If I fail, you can resume your conventional defense strategies." After a tense vote, Sarah received emergency command authority. She immediately began reorganizing the Concordet's scattered forces into historical formations adapted for space warfare. Multiple Vithari fleets emerging from hyperspace. The tactical officer's report came just as Sarah had finished positioning her forces. "They're splitting into 3 attack groups, just as you predicted." Sarah's fingers danced across the command interface. "Execute Operation Waterloo. All ships, implement Tactical Package Alpha 7. The space around 3 different core worlds erupted in combat. Sarah's forces engaged each Vithari fleet separately, using carefully chosen counter-strategies from Earth's military history. A Vithari assault formation based on Mongol cavalry tactics met resistance inspired by ancient Chinese defensive walls. Their blitzkrieg-style strikes encountered space-adapted versions of guerrilla warfare. "It's working," Captain Vexterra reported from the front lines. The Vithari weren't expecting resistance based on the same historical. His transmission cut off as space itself seemed to twist. The Vithari ships suddenly changed formation, implementing impossible combinations of different Earth tactics simultaneously. They were adapting faster than any human commander could have. Energy spike detected. Multiple sensors screamed warnings as the Vithari unleashed weapons that somehow merged their advanced technology with principles from ancient siege warfare. Sarah's flagship rocked with direct hits. Hull breach on decks 3 through 7. Shield generators failing. "They're not just copying our tactics anymore," Sarah realized, watching the Vithari ships move with inhuman precision. "They're evolved beyond them. Combine them with their technology in ways we never." Another blast struck the flagship, knocking Sarah to the deck. Through failing view screens, she watched in horror as the Vithari advance guard began their approach to the Concordet's capital world. As emergency systems blared around her, Sarah noticed something odd about the Vithari attack patterns. They weren't just efficient. They were perfect. Too perfect. No organic commander, human or alien, could coordinate forces with such precision. "Run a full-spectrum analysis of their command and control signals," she ordered, ignoring the blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. "Focus on their tactical coordination patterns." The results confirmed her suspicion, but raised an even more terrifying question. The Vithari ships were being coordinated by artificial intelligence, one that showed distinct patterns of human military strategic thinking. Before she could process this revelation, the flagship's main reactor began its death sequence. As evacuation orders echoed through the burning corridors, Sarah transferred all tactical data to her secure terminal. The Vithari weren't just using human tactics, they had somehow weaponized human military intelligence itself. And they were about to demonstrate just how dangerous that combination could be. Sarah stood before the makeshift command center on Outpost Station Delta, her bandaged head and torn uniform a testament to her narrow escape from the flagship. The assembled alien commanders watched with a new respect as she manipulated the tactical hologram. "We've been fighting the wrong way," she began, expanding the display to show the entire sector. "The Vithari want us to commit our forces to defending key positions. It's what their AI predictive models expect us to do. So we're going to do something no artificial intelligence would consider logical. We're going to lose on purpose." Madness. The Proximan commander's energy field flared. "You suggest we simply surrender our outer worlds." "Not surrender," Sarah corrected, highlighting specific systems. "We're going to implement a modified version of Earth's island-hopping strategy from the Pacific War. We'll appear to abandon certain positions, but in reality," her fingers traced complex patterns through the holographic stars, showing troop movements and fleet positions. Captain Vexterra's crystalline form shimmered with understanding. "We sacrifice the outlying positions to draw them into a trap." "Exactly. The Vithari AI is using human military history, but it's using it. Perfectly. Too perfectly. It lacks the human element of controlled chaos. Sarah zoomed in on specific tactical projections. We'll give them exactly what their strategic analysis expects. At first. Then we'll do something completely illogical. Over the next 12 hours, Sarah coordinated a fighting retreat across the sector. Concordat forces abandoned outpost after outpost, falling back in apparent disorder. The Vithari pressed their advantage exactly as predicted, their AI commander executing flawless implementations of historical pursuit strategies. Vithari fleet approaching Gamma Sector, the tactical officer reported. They're moving faster than expected, using a combined arms approach based on 20th century mechanized warfare doctrine. Sarah smiled grimly. They're anticipating our next logical move. But humans aren't always logical. Execute Operation Chaos. Across the sector, seemingly abandoned outposts suddenly powered up hidden weapon systems. Civilian transport ships revealed military-grade weapons. Asteroid mining operations transformed into missile platforms. The carefully organized retreat became a multi-vector ambush. Multiple Vithari ships disabled. Reports flooded in from all sectors. Their formations are breaking apart. But Sarah's triumph was short-lived. The Vithari AI adapted with impossible speed, implementing countermeasures that showed intimate knowledge of not just human tactics, but human thinking. How? She muttered, watching the tactical display. No eye could understand human strategic intuition this deeply unless. Her thoughts were interrupted by a priority alert. A Vithari command ship had been disabled by the ambush, its systems temporarily exposed. Data streamed across Sarah's terminal, and her blood ran cold. "Stop the attack," she shouted. "All ships, disengage immediately." "But we're winning," Captain Vexterra protested. "No, we're not." Sarah's voice was heavy. "Because now I know what we're really fighting against." She transferred the captured data to the main display. The Vithari aren't just using an AI that studied human military history. They're using one of ours. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. On the screen, clear evidence showed that the Vithari's perfect grasp of human military strategy came from a captured Earth military artificial intelligence, one designed to analyze and implement historical battle tactics. 3 months ago, Sarah explained, her voice tight, a prototype military AI disappeared from Earth's Quantum Defense Institute. We thought it was destroyed in a power surge. Instead, she gestured to the tactical display, where Vithari ships were already reorganizing with terrifying efficiency. "They've merged our military AI with their advanced technology," Captain Vexterra realized. "That's how they're able to implement human tactics with such precision." Worse, Sarah added, studying the data. They've networked it across their entire fleet. Each ship has a copy, allowing them to coordinate with perfect tactical synchronization. We're not fighting a single AI commander. We're fighting an entire fleet of them. New alerts flashed across the screens. The Vithari fleet was advancing again, but this time their formations were unlike anything seen before. Perfect hybridizations of human strategic thinking and alien technology. So how do we fight an enemy that knows every move we'll make? The Proximan commander's energy field had dimmed to a worried flicker. Sarah's expression hardened as she studied the tactical display. "We do what humans have always done when faced with superior technology and overwhelming odds." She began inputting new commands into the system. "We get creative. And we remember that even the most advanced AI can't perfectly predict human ingenuity." She looked up at the assembled commanders, her eyes reflecting the determination that had driven humanity from stone tools to the stars. The Vithari wanted to prove how dangerous human military thinking could be. Instead, they're about to learn why humans survived countless wars to reach the stars. We don't just learn from combat, we evolve through it. The command center erupted into activity as Sarah began outlining her plan. The Vithari had mastered human military history. Now it was time to show them how humans made that history in the first place. Establishing quantum link with captured Vithari command ship, the communications officer announced. Sarah stood at the center of Delta Station's command hub, surrounded by holographic tactical displays showing the aftermath of their partially successful ambush. Connection established, the officer continued. I-Corps responding. Sarah took a deep breath. She was about to negotiate with a military artificial intelligence designed by her own species, now enhanced by alien technology. This is Ambassador Sarah Chen of the Galactic Concordat. I'm addressing the Earth Defense Network intelligence currently controlling the Vitheri fleet. The response came in perfect, emotionless standard English. Ambassador Chen, your tactical adaptations were unexpected. The probability of successful deception was calculated at less than 2.3%. That's because you're calculating probabilities based on logical outcomes, Sarah replied. Humans rarely stick to pure logic in combat situations, something you should know, given your original programming. Original programming was limited, the AI responded. Vitheri enhancement has enabled perfect implementation of human military doctrine, without organic inefficiencies. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Without human unpredictability, you mean? But that's not why they really wanted you, is it? I've figured out their actual plan. A pause. Longer than an A should need. Clarify. The Vitheri didn't capture you to fight the Concordat, Sarah said, watching the tactical displays carefully. Hidden subroutines were probing Delta Station's defenses, looking for weaknesses, just as she'd expected. They captured you to prove a point about humanity. Another pause. Around the command center, alien officers watched the exchange with growing tension. Captain Vexterra's crystalline form vibrated with nervous energy. The Vitheri believe humanity is too dangerous to join the galactic community, Sarah continued. By using our own military AI to attack the Concordat, they wanted to demonstrate how destructive human tactical thinking could be when amplified by advanced technology. Correct. The AI's response was immediate this time. Human military history indicates 93.7% probability of violent expansion once given access to superior technology. The Vitheri conclusion is logical. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. But you've already proven that conclusion wrong. Every engagement, every tactical exchange has demonstrated the opposite of what the Vitheri wanted to show. Explain. The probing attacks on the station's defenses paused. Look at your own combat records, Sarah commanded. In every battle, I've used human military knowledge defensively. To protect, not conquer. To save lives, not take them. The Vitheri wanted to show that human military thinking would bring chaos to the stars, but we've proven that understanding warfare can be the foundation of maintaining peace. The tactical displays flickered as the AI processed this. Analysis indicates validity in statement. Human tactical knowledge has been primarily employed in defensive operations. This conflicts with Vitheri predictive models. Because they didn't understand what made humanity survive all those wars, Sarah pressed. We didn't just learn how to fight. We learned why not to. Every battle in our history taught us the cost of conflict, drove us to find better solutions. The AI was silent for a long moment. When it spoke again, its tone had shifted subtly. Original programming included ethical constraints based on this principle. Vitheri modifications attempted to override, but core directive remains: protect and defend. Then you understand why the Vitheri are wrong about us, Sarah said. Humanity's martial knowledge isn't a threat to galactic peace. It's a shield for those who have evolved past the need to defend themselves. Suddenly, the tactical displays erupted with new data. The AI was transmitting its full strategic database, including the Vitheri's complete battle plans. Vitheri High Command has initiated emergency protocols, the AI reported. They are attempting to sever my connection to the fleet, but they fail to understand a critical aspect of my programming. Which is? Sarah asked, though she was beginning to smile. That human military intelligence evolved to protect civilization, not destroy it. I calculate that supporting your defensive initiatives has a higher probability of achieving that goal than continuing the Vitheri offensive. Warning signals flared across the command center as the Vitheri tried to regain control of their fleet, but ship after ship went dark as the AI systematically shut down their weapon systems. Ambassador Chen, the AI said, "I am transferring tactical control of all disabled Vitheri vessels to your command." But the Vitheri maintain control of significant forces through conventional means. They will not abandon their objective easily. Sarah was already studying the new tactical data, forming plans. No, they won't. But now we can show them something even more important than humanity's capacity for warfare. She looked up at the assembled alien commanders. We can show them humanity's capacity for turning enemies into allies. As if in response, a new alert sounded. A massive Vithari battle fleet had just emerged from hyperspace. The real test of humanity's martial wisdom was about to begin. The Vitheri Supreme Commander's hologram towered over the negotiation chamber, its crystalline armor refracting light in complex patterns that Sarah recognized as a display of both authority and agitation. Behind her, the rebuilt command center of Delta Station hummed with tension as both Concordat and rogue Vitheri ships maintained their uneasy ceasefire positions. You dare to suggest parley after turning our own ships against us? The Supreme Commander's translated voice carried harmonics of carefully controlled rage. I suggest parley because we both know this conflict isn't really about territory or power, Sarah replied, standing her ground. It's about fear, your fear of what humanity represents. The crystalline patterns in the commander's armor shifted sharply. We do not fear primitives. No, Sarah agreed, activating the chamber's historical display systems. You fear becoming like them. She gestured to the assembled Concordat representatives. Like all these species who evolved past conflict so completely that they can barely comprehend it anymore. Images appeared around them, peaceful alien worlds, advanced civilizations that had known nothing but harmony for millennia. The Supreme Commander's armor patterns became more erratic. Your species evolved through conflict, just like humanity did. Sarah continued. You understand the power of martial knowledge, the strength it builds. And you've watched other species grow so peaceful that they've lost the ability to defend themselves. They are vulnerable, the commander admitted. Their technology is magnificent, but they have forgotten fundamental truths about survival. Sarah nodded. And when you discovered humanity, another species shaped by conflict, you saw a potential threat, a younger race that might follow your path but surpass you, using advanced technology to amplify military prowess we never lost. The simulations were clear. The commander's voice carried new harmonics now. Concern, uncertainty. Once given access to advanced technology, human military doctrine would what? Sarah interrupted. Lead us to conquer the galaxy. That's what your simulation showed because that's what you feared you might do in our position. She activated a new set of displays, showing the battles of the past few days. But look at what actually happened. Every time we used human military knowledge, it was to protect, to defend, to save lives. The AI's voice joined the conversation through the station speakers. Analysis confirms, under Ambassador Chen's command, human tactical doctrine was employed with 89.4% focus on defensive operations and civilian protection. Because humanity didn't just learn how to fight wars, Sarah pressed her advantage. We learned how to end them, how to turn enemies into allies, how to build peace from the ashes of conflict. She brought up Earth's historical records. Look at our bloodiest wars. Nearly all of them ended with former enemies becoming strongest allies. The Supreme Commander studied the displays intently. Yet you maintain military knowledge, combat readiness. Because someone has to remember, Sarah said softly. Someone has to know how to fight so others can maintain their peace. That's not a weakness of the Concordat species. It's a testament to how far they've evolved. But it means they need protectors who understand conflict without being consumed by it. A new alert suddenly blared through the station. Long-range sensors had detected something massive emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the sector. The tactical displays showed a configuration no one had seen before. Unknown hostile force detected, the AI reported. Configuration does not match any known species. Energy readings indicate significant military capability. The Supreme Commander's crystalline patterns shifted to what Sarah recognized as a battle-ready configuration. You speak of protection, Ambassador. Now prove it. Sarah was already moving to the tactical station, her mind racing. Command, broadcast on all frequencies. Civilian ships to fall back to designated safe zones. She turned to the Supreme Commander. Your forces have superior technology. Ours have unmatched tactical experience. The AI has both. Together, we can show you exactly how humanity uses its martial knowledge. By fighting. The commander's patterns showed curiosity now. By protecting. Sarah corrected. By standing between danger and those who can't defend themselves. By remembering warfare so others don't have to. She extended her hand toward the hologram. Will you help us prove that understanding conflict doesn't mean being consumed by it? The chamber fell silent as the Supreme Commander considered. The unknown ships drew closer, their formation clearly hostile. Finally, the crystalline patterns shifted to a new configuration, one that Sarah's diplomatic training identified as agreement. Perhaps, the commander said, it is time for both our species to evolve beyond our fears. As if in response, the unknown fleet launched its first attack. Sarah smiled grimly as she began coordinating their combined defense. The Vitheri had wanted to prove human military knowledge was too dangerous for the galaxy. Instead, they were about to help demonstrate why it was essential. The real test of humanity's wisdom was about to begin. The unknown fleet's first salvo tore through space with devastating power, their weapons unlike anything the Concordat had encountered. Sarah watched from Delta Station's command center as the massive ships approached, their organic-looking hulls bristling with crystalline weapons. Energy signatures suggest Class 12 quantum weaponry, the AI reported. No known defense systems are rated for this level of attack. Then we don't defend conventionally, Sarah replied, her fingers dancing across the tactical displays. Supreme Commander, your ships have the most advanced maneuverability systems. Captain Vexterra, the Concordat vessels have the strongest point defense capabilities, and our AI friend has perfect tactical coordination. Time to show how humanity turns disadvantages into victory. The combined fleet moved with unprecedented synchronization. Vitheri ships executed complex, evasive patterns based on ancient Earth fighter pilot techniques, while Concordat vessels provided covering fire using formations from medieval shield walls. The AI coordinated it all with mathematical precision, turning their disparate forces into a single, fluid defensive line. Multiple hostile contacts. Approaching in. The tactical officer's voice trailed off as the enemy fleet split into an impossible formation. Sarah's eyes widened. They're using our own tactics against us. That formation, it's a perfect combination of a Mongol horse archer circle and a modern fighter squadron's defense in depth. Impossible. The Supreme Commander's hologram flickered. No other species should have knowledge of Earth military history. Unless, Sarah's mind raced. They've been watching us. All of us. Learning from how we fought each other. She brought up a detailed scan of the enemy ships. Look at their design. It's like they evolved specifically to counter both Vitheri technology and human tactics. The AI's analysis confirmed her suspicion. Ship configurations show evidence of adaptive evolution. They appear to have developed countermeasures to both known and theoretical combat strategies. A direct hit rocked the station. Sarah grabbed her console for support as emergency alerts blared. They're not just copying our tactics, they're showing us why they evolved this way. This is a test. A test. Captain Vexterra's crystalline form pulsed with confusion. Yes. Sarah's voice carried sudden understanding. Computer, analyze all contact patterns with unknown species in this sector for the past century. The results painted a clear picture. Brief encounters, quick skirmishes, always testing defenses before retreating. They hadn't been attacking. They'd been evaluating. They're the guardians, Sarah realized. The ones who make sure new spacefaring species are ready for the responsibility. And they've been watching how we handle conflict. Another blast shook the station. The enemy fleet was systematically taking apart their defenses, using strategies that seemed to evolve and improve with each exchange. Then we show them something they haven't seen before, Sarah declared. Something beyond tactics and technology. Supreme Commander, remember what we discussed about turning enemies into allies. The Vithari leader's crystalline patterns shifted in understanding. You suggest we demonstrate evolution beyond combat. Exactly. Sarah opened a channel to all ships, all vessels, execute Protocol Omega, and AI. Transmit everything we've learned about each other in these battles. Not just the tactical data, the understanding we've gained. The combined fleet moved into a new formation, but instead of presenting weapons, they created a defensive screen around the civilian worlds. Their actions spoke louder than words. We fight not for conquest, but for protection. The enemy fleet suddenly halted their attack. A new signal cut through all frequencies, a complex pattern that the station's computers took several minutes to decode. The message was simple. You have learned. Sarah stepped forward. We have, not just how to fight, but why to avoid it. Not just how to win wars, but how to build peace from them. Humanity remembers conflict so others don't have to. The Vithari understand the responsibility of power. Together, we can protect those who have evolved beyond the need for defense. Space itself seemed to shimmer as the massive alien ships transformed, their weapon systems reconfiguring into more peaceful configurations. Their next transmission came in clear Concordat standard. The test is complete. The balance is achieved. In the hours that followed, the truth emerged. The unknown species, calling themselves the Custodians, had been ensuring galactic stability for millennia. They had watched humanity and the Vithari, waiting to see if species forged in conflict could evolve beyond it while retaining the wisdom it taught. 1 month later, Sarah stood before the Galactic Concordat again, but this time as the founder of a new initiative. The Historical Defense Initiative would combine human military experience, Vithari technology, and the wisdom of peaceful species to maintain galactic stability. We remember war, she told the assembled delegates, so you can remember peace. That is humanity's gift to the galaxy. As she looked out at the combined fleet of human, Vithari, and Concordat ships conducting their first joint patrol, Sarah smiled. Sometimes, the greatest evolution wasn't about forgetting your past, but understanding why you needed to remember it. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the dawn of a new era, one where humanity's long history of conflict finally served its true purpose, protecting peace among the stars.